Watercare is New Zealand's largest company in the water and wastewater industry. They extend lifeline services to 1.7 million people in and around Auckland. They operate 16 water treatment plants and maintain 9,500 kilometres of water pipes. They also collect mixed trade and domestic waste through another 8,500 kilometres of pipes, and they take that to 18 wastewater treatment plants for treatment and disposal. So far then, it sounds like what lots of people watching the webinar do. The unique thing about Watercare though is its iwi Maori and their deep personal connection to nature. For most of the world, this is a totally different way of thinking about customer engagement and catchment management. Piers spoke to Richie Waiwai recently and learned what personal connections to the environment and what meaningful engagements with communities actually look like. Richard is Maori. You'll hear him speaking Maori in a moment, and he has a unique role to build relationships between communities called iwi and Watercare.
Tēnā koe. Tēnā koe Piers, hauana nā mihi kia koe I runa I nā huatana o te ao Māori me ki. Nō reira koe tēnei tanata, ko Richie Waiwai tōku ingoa. Ko mā tātua taku waka, ko panikire taku mauna, ko waikare tā heke taku awa, ko nai tū hoi taku iwi. Great to meet you and catch up with you this morning. In my tūhoi world, in my world, we always acknowledge our environmental connections first and foremost. Therefore, my ancient canoe or my waka is mā tātua. My electrifying waters, my river is Waikare Tāheke. My mountain, my sacred mountain, as you can see in my background picture, is Panikire. My bathing waters of my ancestors is Waikare Moana. And my people are the Tūhoi people, and I am Richie Waiwai, and I work for Watercare. I am the Chief of Iwi Maori Strategy and Relationships. Watercare is our head office, our main office is based in Auckland and Newmarket, and we have a number of plants throughout the Auckland region, far from South Waikato area, right through up into Wellsford, Warkworth, which is towards the north. Watercare itself, we provide lifeline services to 1.7 million Aucklanders. We are the largest company in the water and wastewater industry. We supply more than 400 million litres of water for Auckland every day. We draw water from 27 sources, where we collect and treat and dispose of around 409 million litres of wastewater daily, which includes trade waste from industry. We carry out a significant work to upgrade and build infrastructure and maintain levels of service as we look at the population growth here in Tāmaki Makaurau being Auckland. One of the fundamentals of our mahi at Watercare, mahi being work, and the way we operate is our relationship to mana whenua or to iwi. Mana whenua being our indigenous clans or our hapu, and iwi being our tribes. So within our partnerships and our treaty context, we pay huge regard to those relationships with our iwi. And so the way Watercare operates is in that space is that we involve our iwi in a number of our infrastructure projects from the beginning, like design work, and right through to the end. Having our mana whenua, our iwi involved in the project and actually supporting us from a indigenous lens helps us arrive at the best decision that we can from a water industry perspective, as well as a indigenous cultural lens. So just this morning at 4:30 a.m. New Zealand time, we had the opening of a new wastewater treatment plant in one of our towns called Pukekohe, $128 million upgrade. But the significant part of it is that we've been working on this consent since 2014. And we would never have got to today if it wasn't for our indigenous people, our hapu, and our iwi being involved and actually supporting the consent and the process itself, looking at the design and where we got to. I go back to 2014 when we when we started our first lot of engagement and or consultation, for want of a better word. As our staff start going through this process, you start getting more intimate and understanding each other and understanding why our people may oppose to certain methodologies and or technical infrastructure. And then our technical people get to understand from an iwi lens, a tribal lens, the meaning of the river itself. A discharge to a water body as important as the Waikato Awa, where she is deemed to be a living ancestor for their people. We have to make sure that from a infrastructure, from a technology perspective, what we were doing was going to be for the better health and well-being of the water body, of the awa, Waikato. And so that was a huge undertaking by all parties involved. We as Watercare are taking in a way of doing our work, our business differently. Te Mana O Te Wai.
Yeah.
And Te Mana O Te Wai looks at the health and well-being and the spirit of water first and foremost. Looking after the water body is paramount. Well-being of water is to the forefront of all our decisions in the way we build, the way we abstract water, the way we discharge. So for us as iwi, as tribal people, we say that the river is us, we are the river. Our focus is always on making sure our environment that sustains us, i.e. water, land, is to the fore and protected.
Thank you, Richard. For me, the standout message is that Watercare involves iwi in their infrastructure projects right from the design work and every step of the way, all the way through to the end, with actual engagement through an indigenous lens that helps Watercare arrive at the best possible decision they can to protect the natural world. Tribal involvement in the design enables Watercare to look after the water body as the sacred ancestor she is. This very intimate and personal relationship with the natural world results in a level of respect and care for the environment that differs hugely from the bolted-on public consultation that many of us are used to. To Mana O Te Wai, the health and well-being and spirit of water is top priority in all of Watercare's decisions. If we all treated our water bodies with love like this, it would revolutionise how we make decisions in our own parts of the world.